Ralph, what on earth happened to PSA?
I think we're late again.
What is going on over there? They received our order more than 2 weeks ago, and yet nothing has been uploaded. Let's talk through it, along with some PSA price increases. What does it mean for you and I? Stick around. What's going on, sports card hobby family? It is another day. It's another sports card video. We are almost to the weekend. It is almost hot tub time as the sun goes down. The hot tub out back sits at 102 and we're ready to roll. Today we're going to talk about PSA price increases. A lot of people upset. Some people are just okay with it. Another reason why, if you have not submitted with PSA, to use my promo code if you're a first-time submitter, SCD25 at the billing and shipping screen, $25 off your first order, 1 card minimum. So prices are going up, $25 off that first order. Let's make it happen. Every dollar counts in this hobby. Shout out to justcollect.com. You've got a collection to sell. You have no idea where to go with it. You want to sell maybe all of it, half of it, a quarter of it, and you want somebody with knowledge and experience to give you an idea of what it's worth. Justcollect.com has an easy appraisal form on their website, so make sure to check it out. Along with the Just Collect YouTube channel, where they talk about collections, different guests on all the time, great interviews Leighton Sheldon does over there. Check out the Just Collect YouTube channel and get your knowledge up. Card Capsule, you want great supplies. You don't want to pay a fortune for semi-rigids, top loaders, and cases. And we also are going to have a giveaway with Card Capsule, so stay tuned for that. I'm getting that ironed out with the Card Capsule, folks, and I'll let you know as soon as we've got more info on the Card Capsule giveaway. All right. PSA raised prices, but before we get there, I've got a 25 card bulk order that arrived there on January 2nd. Is it lost in the warehouse? Now, I know they sent out an email saying, hey, don't worry, we've got your order. It's just we're a little bit backlogged. We're a little bit backed up getting everything locked in. And so I'm not panicking yet. I've already reached out to Ryan Hogan, Nat Turner 4 times this morning. Just kidding. But a lot of speculation. Is this 2020? Is this 2021? Do we have a massive backlog going on here at PSA? And the answer is, yeah, we got a little bit, but man, it's a totally different world than where we were in 2020 and 2021 when Nat Turner was just taking over the company and they had something like 15 million cards in the warehouse that needed to be unpackaged and put into the system. It's a whole different world now. Price increases, we can put them up here on the screen. They're fairly negligible. Some of the levels you get a little bit of a hike, but to be honest, I don't think the new price increases have anything to do with a potential backlog or capacity issues. I think this was probably the game plan going into 2025 all along. If we're being honest here, PSA is way out front in number 1. They've been expanding their market share really for the last 4 years pretty dramatically. And we know that they're continually investing in new cases. They're investing internationally. They've got international expansion. They also said here too, they've got new tech going in that's helping this kind of this onboarding process where you send cards in and the intake process to make that more streamlined. So they continually reinvest. It costs money. And look, when you're number 1 and everybody wants your product and you're grading, 1.2 to 1.4 million cards every single month, and it hasn't really slowed down in a couple of years, the whole idea of like, oh man, what a shock that they're going to raise prices. It's not really a shock whatsoever. I know too that they're going to continuously run specials. The one segment though of PSA customers that I think that they kind of need to watch out for or maybe prioritize specials, the PSA registry folks. If you've got, it might not be any sort of a high dollar card or high dollar set, but you're just trying to complete the set, you're competing on the registry. I think really that should be an ongoing special that they make for folks, especially longtime customers. I mean, that just seems kind of a no-brainer. If you're having to send in cards for the purpose of the registry vintage commons, and it's $20 or something for each one, I don't know. I think that would be a nice way to serve your longtime customers, because really that PSA registry and the competition around the registry has been the backbone of really PSA growth if we're looking over the last 20 years. While there might be some outrage, of course, over increased prices, and a lot of people just aren't a fan of grading, and I get it. It's either for you or it's not. It might be for part of your collection or not for part of your other parts of your collection. I totally get it. I still contend, and again, I go back to when I was a kid. I can remember like it was yesterday, as a kid in card shops where customers were arguing with the card shop owner over the condition of a particular card, whether it was a vintage card or at that point it might have been an 84 Topps Mattingly, only a few years old at that point. and just, oh no, this is near mint. No. This is a mint copy going back and forth, back and forth. The reason why we had the big rise of grading was exactly for this purpose. Not to say that PSA and Beckett and SGC get it right all the time, but I am a huge believer of third-party grading. Again, it's not for everybody, and honestly, there's a lot of longtime collectors. I know John Mangini is a good example of this, where he's been looking at cardboard for decades to where he can probably grade cards better than a lot of the graders at grading companies because he's got such an eye, especially for vintage cards that he's been looking at over a long period of time. He's got that time invested into the hobby to where for him, maybe it doesn't really make sense. It's like, I don't want to send this off. He's also got his own holders, to where it's like, he's already got protection. Because a lot of people, I do this too for certain cards. I'll go ahead and send it off just so it's encapsulated. They might be PC cards of mine, but I still don't want them just in a mag or in a top loader. I want them in a PSA holder or an SGC holder or whatever it is. So it's to each their own. And I think that when you look at what you're collecting too, you can kind of say, okay, these are cards that are going to sit in binders that I get to just flip through and enjoy. Honestly, I probably look at the binders more than I look at my graded cards, which I should probably pause and think about that for a second. But for the graded cards, I care about the condition. If they need to be resold, heaven forbid something happens to me tomorrow, my family's got to figure out my collection, then I want those particular cards sitting in a holder. There's other ones that are just fine in mags, and there's other ones, like I said, that I just enjoy looking at in binders. But if my wife has to take care of a set in a binder, she can throw it up on eBay or whatever. My kids can look at it and be like, oh, wow, this is something that Dad used to collect when he was a kid. It's not that big of a deal. It might be a $40 or $50 sale. It's not something that's going to inconvenience my family in a big way. But what do you guys think? Price increase here. Does it mean that you're not grading anymore? Or is it something you're not really that shocked about just simply because the product is red hot? PSA grading is really where it's at. SGC, awesome company as well, to go to. But I mean, for the most part, PSA rules, especially for people that are looking to resell cards, which, let's face it, it's a buy, sell, trade hobby. So if you're buying to then sell, PSA right now, for a lot of cards, you could argue vintage is kind of in there, grouped in there with PSA. For certain vintage cards, they're very comparable as far as price points go. But if you're at ultra modern card stuff over the last 5 years, PSA 10 versus SGC 10, sometimes they're close, but a lot of times PSA edges it out. And so PSA is that go-to company. And on the TCG side, it is, as I'm learning more on my second channel, Collectibles Dad is really all Pokemon investing in quotation marks, speculating stuff. I'm learning a lot more about that space, and I understand now more why pretty much half of PSA's business is TCG cards. That's a whole nother video and ball game over there on the TCG side. So yes, we do have price increases. There is a little bit of a delay. The delays are not going to last very long. I think that they're going to have this sorted out here in the next few weeks, month, and we'll continue on. Friends, have an amazing day ahead. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.